Hey guys, here is my war number 11. Now, if we win this, we get the number 2 spot secured, guaranteed going into the final war, which is great. And Zeen need to win this war to get Masters. I mean, they're in P1 right now, so it's definitely a mismatch, but, it's also definitely a war where they need to push as well, so we weren't going to take this war lightly. And yeah, I had 7 fights today. 5 with Warlock, 1 with Thing, and 1 with Nick Fury. So first up on this Bishop, it's an R3 Bishop on Path 1, which is just a really, really easy Warlock fight. Has willpower on 2, and, yeah. Not much to say about this, didn't even have a power start on, and the fight's over very, very quickly. And then the Mojo is basically the same fight, but we just pay attention to Masochism for this. And yeah, I make sure to go turn off decks here as well. Yeah, it's pretty easy set of fights. Not much to really say about this. Yeah, just turning decks off because it's Mojo. Save myself some potions and whatnot, just in case. And yeah, just gonna, abuse the regen and all that to power drain. Pop a quick heal, and yeah, pretty easy fights versus this Mojo. Again, in R3 Mojo, this happens when you're matching P1 allies. There's going to be a lot of R3 defenders. So, they're at a big disadvantage in this war. So, little bittersweet to get a mismatch, but I'll fucking take it. Again, that top 3 secure definitely needed a win here. So, yeah. And yeah, for this Mojo, just keep Masochism down for your L2 so you can get the armor breaks. And then there's really not much else to this fight. As you can see, my L2 does a bunch of damage here. And willpower is keeping Mojo completely under control. And yeah, the fight's very easy. Now I'm getting a House of X pre-fight for this Maw right here. And we have a Sig 200 thing. We're running Suicides, of course. And yeah, this is a very easy fight with Thing. The Path 2 cheese, I'm not a big fan of using Thing for the Path 2 cheese, in general, because a lot of times it's used as a bit of a catch-all when it really shouldn't be used as a catch-all, but for a matchup like Maw, it's very, very safe, of course, because Maw is one very quick fight, of course, and then he's nullify immune, doesn't have to worry about much versus Maw, really, and he has great heavy spacing to keep the Falter under control, so pretty much perfect matchup. And yeah, we're just gonna spam heavies in the corner until we get our L3, and then we're gonna do some combos to make sure that our L3 will kill and launch that L3, and that will be the fight over. And not worried about stand your ground here because we would have the unstoppable and the protection, so it would not kill me. And yeah, now we do a combo into an L3, and that fight is just over. A pretty quick one as far as Thing fight goes. And yeah. Excuse me. Just yawning. Very tired. But yeah. Next up, we have 3 more Warlock fights in Section 2. Kingpin, Overseer, and Mephy. All very, very easy with Warlock. We have 3 out of 3 recoil and tech powerbacks and all that here. We're running a combat regen for the first 2, and then we're going to run a PS1 for the Mephy. And yeah, for this Kingpin, it's a pretty easy fight. I had someone make sure to check there was willpower here, just to decide on what playstyle I would be going for. But there is willpower here, so I have a lot of free time. I have a lot of freedom with how I want to play this fight. But mostly just about spamming my L2s. I'm gonna take a bunch of chip damage from recoil, but I'm not too worried about that. Season is almost over, so yeah. And yeah, both of my armor breaks stick here, so the first L2 does great damage, takes them down to 50% already. And yeah. And then second L2, 1 armor break sticks, so the normal rate, 1 armor break sticks on both. Yeah, that's what should be expected here. And yeah, Third L2 ends the fight, and yeah, not too slow. Was expecting that one to be a lot slower than it was, but 3 out of 3 recoil helped a lot. And yeah, next up we've got an Overseer on Node 40. This fight's pretty easy with Warlock. Um, you know, you gotta pay attention to the auto block, but the auto block really is not that dangerous. You gotta pay attention to it, but it's not gonna ever kill you or anything. Because you can just do heavy counters, you can do single mediums, or you can throw specials into the auto block. So it's not a particularly scary auto block with how Overseer's auto block works, but yeah. And now we're just getting that infection up first, and then we'll be draining with willpower, draining with the regen, and yeah, being passive here so he doesn't throw specials. Just throw in my heavies. And yeah, now we're gonna get our L2s off. And the fight's gonna be going down very, very quickly at this point. We don't get many crits there, unfortunately. So, didn't end up doing all that much damage with the L2 to get back to another one. But it is all good because we get another L2 here and the fight is over. And yeah, next up we have this Mephy on node 46. Now, on this Mephy, I actually ended up getting pushed to an L3, which was a little bit annoying because of my power backs. Looking back, I probably could have played a little bit more passively and I wouldn't have had to worry about that, but you really don't want to throw your L3 against Mephy, because because it will remove the infection and everything, and you really want to keep that infection up. So it ended up stretching this fight out a little bit longer than it normally would be. Didn't end up mattering, because we just finished off the fight with some heavies and some combos. And yeah. As you can see, my L2 is doing just a bunch of damage here. And here was my mistake, throwing my L2 with the armor breaks already up. This is just too many armor breaks with 3 out of 3 recoil and a 200% versus an R3 Mephy. So yeah, now he's at 23%, just trying to finish this up with combos. And yeah, I mean, it's not too dangerous because it's just the block penetration node. Just a little bit annoying, but yeah, my heavy kills there. And yeah, for my final fight of the war, I have a Quicksilver boss. They placed with node 49 empty, so we couldn't ghost it, so we just used Nick Fury. But yeah, it's a pretty easy fight with Nick Fury. My plan here is to just use an invuln and tank L3s, if Quicksilver decides to be passive. And it's perfectly safe to do that as long as Quicksilver is not in terminal velocity. So that was my fight plan going in. And, just, be patient with Quicksilver's animations, throw your L1s, everything. Fairly simple strategy. I think Quicksilver is just placed here because he has kind of tricky animations, and, on a boss fight, tricky animations can cause issues a lot of times, but it's no big deal because you can just block everything here, and yeah. Um, Not much I can really say about this fight, it's a pretty simple one. Um, the nice thing about Nick Fury versus the steady build-up nodes is, even when he doesn't actually have a debuff to shrug, he still shrugs the debuff on knockdown effectively. He's performing a shrug, even though there's no debuff to shrug, and that lets him be constantly unblockable here, which is really nice for just keeping up tempo in the fight. And yeah, here's Quicksilver's L3, his one and only L3. He's already at 27%, so you can see this fight's gone by pretty quickly. And yeah. This fight's a pretty easy one with Nick. Definitely don't think Quicksilver is a good boss placement. Because Nick just makes it so easy. And yeah, we eat no one there. A little bit annoying, but it happens. And yeah, L2 finishes the fight, and that's all for this war. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and thank you to my Patreon supporters, and you're Dunny.